Hello and welcome to Classic Book Reviews with David. Today I'll be discussing We Danced All Night by Barbara Cartland. Now, most people associate Barbara Cartland with fluffy romantic tales, which she churned out in later life, probably after about the age of 70, I think, at a rate of more than 20 a year. So 20 novels a year, which is phenomenal. And in fact, it was more than that at points. But this book is a memoir from the 1920s where she discusses her life as a bright young thing, an it girl of sorts, I suppose, where she would be drinking champagne and zooming around in fast cars and going to nightclubs and, of course, dancing through the night, much frowned upon by the older generation, but that's what youths, well, certainly upper class youths, used to do at the time. It's full of love and champagne and youthful freedom and exuberance and fast cars and aeroplanes and the like. And it all seems to be jolly, or at least my perception was that it was a jolly life where it was all carefree and everyone was just busy enjoying themselves and having fun. And to an extent that was true. But this book sort of reveals something that if you scratch below the surface, you see that there's an unhappiness that's being masked. And this is a result of the First World War. So the First World War ended in 1918. I mean, Barbara Cartland's father himself died in 1918. And after all that death and destruction and seeing friends killed and loved ones killed, those young people who'd been so traumatized kind of decided to try and blot it out subconsciously. I don't think they made a conscious effort to do that, but effectively this dancing, this drinking, occasionally some people, taking drugs and the like, was all or very much to do with trying to blot out the horrible, terrible memories of the First World War. One interesting thing, and there are many interesting things in this book, is how the men especially seem to act with reckless abandon in certain circumstances, especially when it came to travelling. So many men seem to enjoy driving fast cars in this post-war period, risking their lives, and a lot of Barbara Cartland's male friends seem to have died by crashing cars or crashing aeroplanes, which is another thing they like to do, well, not crashing them, but flying them. But a lot of her friends died. And I wonder if this reckless abandon, this almost blasé regard towards life is part of that trauma, part of them seeing the horrors of the First World War and not really caring about life anymore. But it's a fascinating book. It's not at all like her romantic novels, one of which I did read earlier this year and I thought was rather good. But that's perhaps for another video. So I think this book is a very interesting book. I mean, it was used for the fifth and final series of Upstairs, Downstairs, which was a great TV series filmed in the 70s. And the final series was set in the 20s. And they made a use of this book for a number of episodes, including Joke Over and Laugh a Little Louder Please, and other episodes. They seem to have mined this book for storylines, and that's because that's a testament to this book, really, and its insightfulness and its just the amount of material that's inside. It's very interesting, and there's a lot of it. There's not much negative to say about the book, but there is one thing that did strike me quite early on, and that's how it seems to sort of just meander and jump all over the place, almost from page to page. And it's not set in any chronological order. Barbara Cartland just seems to think, oh yeah, and we did this as well, and oh, what happened next? Oh, and I did that. Oh, and a couple of years earlier, my friend did this. And it jumps about all over the place throughout the book. It's got no structure at all to it, really. So that's a slight negative, but overall, 4 stars. I mean, I toyed with giving it 5 stars, but I've given so many books 5 stars. I feel like I can't keep going like that. If I could give halves, I'd give 4.5, but I think it's probably just below that, really. So I'm rounding it down to 4. But because it's well worth a read. I'm not sure if it's still in print. I picked my one up second hand. You can get them online, second hand, no doubt. But yes, well worth a read. Certainly if you're interested in the bright young things of the 1920s and all that glamour, and perhaps scratching a little deeper. So a very good book. I will try and put a link below if I can find any links to the book. But you can always follow on Facebook and Twitter, and please do subscribe, and that's it. Until the next video. Bye.